introducing my players. First up, I have Snake and the Fixer Upper, played by.
Ryan Naga. Snake is a Yuan-Ti sorcerer of the Draconic Persuasion, and Fixer Upper is a half-orc war priest.
Um, Next, we have Tristan, played by.
Will and Tristan is a kobold wizard.
Who is.
Well, no, I've got nothing to say about him this time. He managed to survive this long. I don't get to insult his intelligence.
Okay. Um, then we have Melrath, played by.
Stormy 827, and Melrath is a dwarven eldritch knight.
Excellent. And last but not least, we have Bob, played by.
Kyle, and Bob is a perpetually cranky tiefling warlock. I
Yes.
forget things. Wow. It's
uh,
only been a week.
yeah, so let me start by sharing the sheet again. Oh, which apparently, yeah, it takes a while to load because it's so fucking big. So here's the map. And so the recap from last time, which I think will take a little bit to go through because we covered a lot. The party has landed in Blingdenstone. And when they got here, and they were shown inside of the city, they had to walk through the big maze off to the left, which is like the battlements to try to, slow down any attacking forces to Blingdenstone. And then once you'd made it into the city, you were given an audience with Dorbo and Seni Digger Maddock, which are the de facto leaders of the Blingdenstone uh, city. And let me see. Once you had made it there, um, the deep gnomes, because they live around so many evil species, have a policy of sort of trust but verify, and so they're giving you an opportunity to ally yourself with their settlement um, by making you do stuff for them. So they've given you the opportunity to pursue at least two things that you're aware of. The two things are there are a clan of were-rats in a particular section of the city, and they need someone to go over there and do some negotiating with them. Some people in the council think that the were-rat should be removed because they need that space um, for the growing civilian population. But other people think that the were-rats actually stuck it out while the or sorry, the deep gnomes left, and they should be given the opportunity to stay and contribute since they've been so resourceful up until now. Um, in addition to that, they also mentioned that there was a particular priest over at what was the name of that temple? I want to say it was Ruby Rose or something like that. Um, my map is temporarily frozen, so I'm waiting for it to come back so I can check the pins. But there we go. Let's see. Not that one. Not that one. Nope. 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 Found it. Ruby in the Rough. That's what it was. Um, there's a priest at Ruby in the Rough who has some information on some other threats to Blingdenstone, and he's someone that you can talk to for additional tasks. And so you can either perform those various tasks or fuck off, basically, because the deep gnomes have refused to help you until you help them.
And I believe last game we did help them a little bit by not having one of theirs die.
Yes, there was an attack of oozes on their. I think this is a market. The Yeah, there it is. Trader's Grotto. Trader's Grotto. A pair of gelatinous cubes seemed to seep in from nowhere, and they swept up a deep gnomish guard, and the guard actually ended up surviving that encounter because of the party's quick actions on his behalf. As a result, I rolled some dice, and the city now considers you to be potential heroes as opposed to untrustworthy strangers. So a little bit left to do to secure their goodwill, but you're already well on the right path to accomplish that. So, um,
And we also delivered the
spell
blank
gems.
spell gem.
Yes. And with those blank spell gems will be available for purchase later. And also, as I was looking into spell gems, one of the things that's actually kind of important, I had been saying, oh, they're basically the same thing as spell scrolls. And sort of on a functional level, they are. The truth of the matter is that as players, you guys could acquire a pen, a inkwell, and some ink and paper and write your own scrolls. But if you write your own scrolls, you expend experience to do it. And so that has an obvious downside, but with a spell gem, all you have to do is cast a spell. So they're actually sort of technically better than spell scrolls for that purpose. So I just wanted to amend that last time in case anybody else was as curious as I was why one would bother with spell gems when scrolls are so readily available. Um, so yeah. So anyways, a quick recap of the recap is just your options are check out the Ruby and the Rough and talk to the priest that is there for additional information. Go investigate the were rats or go investigate the broken down quarter to see if you can figure out where all these oozes are coming from.
Isn't the Ruby place a bar?
Did I get that mixed up again?
I'm just saying we should go to a bar.
There is a bar. The Foaming Mug. That's what the name of the bar is. The bar would also give you some access to local rumors. It's also a place to rest, but I don't think you guys really expended much in the way of resources fighting the gelatinous cubes, so I'm not sure that you need to rest just yet.
Oh.
I say let's go to the temple first, figure out what's going on there, then we can go to the bar, and then we can figure out which of the plot hooks, if any, or if all of them, we want to.
Okay.
So, actually, question for the DM: will it be possible to follow all the plot hooks, or should we go for the one that we want the most first?
You will have time to follow all of the plot hooks. And it's sort of a matter of the order in which you do them. I think that they work in basically any order, but there's sort of a main one, and then there are things that will sort of feed into the outcome of that main plot hook. That answer your question?
Yep. I
Okay.
say let's go to the temple first, then go drink it.
Okay.
I would also throw out there that if we have an opportunity for a short rest, I'll take it because both of my spell slots are gone.
Okay. You can actually do that at the temple. Because all it really, like a short rest, is sitting down and resting and not exerting yourself for an hour. So,
Oh.
yeah.
So I'll just sit in the corner while you guys do everything.
You can still talk. That's not very exerting. So, yeah.
Okay.
So you make your way over to the Ruby and the Rough, and the temple is kind of out in the open. Like you can actually see it to the almost due south of you. There's like that rectangle, and it has a little circle on the rectangle, and there's like stairs leading to things. There's like a platform to the south of that. Um, so once you make it to the Ruby and the Rough, um, there is, let me see here. The temple is dedicated to a being known as Segojan Earthcaller, and is the Snurfniblin god of deep earth and nature. The rituals and day-to-day duties of the temple um, I see. Are overseen by a deep gnome who introduces himself as Glyphic Shroomlight. He seems to be a nervous young novice, um, and you're not quite sure if he's actually in charge or somebody else is because he seems awfully young to be in charge of a temple that is at the center of Snurfniblin life here in the Underdark. Um, so I'm looking through the rest of this. Da, 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 da. I think I have to click that. Nope. I'm gonna have to pull out the book to get the appropriate piece of information. Roar! what I'm looking for. Of course it's not there. There we go. Found it. So the party approaches, and Glyphic is at the altar. He is currently putting some soil, some gravel into a brass brazier on the platform, and muttering and speaking to it aloud. And as you're standing, sort of watching him, not sure if you should interrupt, um, off to your left, a ghost of a Snurfniblin appears out of the wall, um, and sort of floats alongside you, and he's quiet for a few moments, and he's watching as you're watching, and then he turns his head to the party. Greetings.
Uh, Hi. Are you the head of the temple?
Oh, oh my, no, that's that fellow over there doing the ritual. No, I'm Warden Yadger. Um, I would shake your hand, but you would pass right through it. I used to be a warden here before the Drow came in and killed me.
How many priests are left?
Uh, well, I think it's actually pretty much down to Glyphic over there. He was the last priest of the Order of Segojan, so the duties fall to him.
Everything makes sense now.
Yeah, he's kind of doing the best he can. You know how it is.
Oh yeah, no. So what's so I hear that you guys have some interesting information about what's going on around here. He seems busy, so we don't really want to bother him. Do you have anything you'd like to share with us? We're trying to sort of prove ourselves as trustworthy.
Why, indeed, I do. Um, to be honest, if you'd spoke to Glyphic, he'd probably pass out halfway through the conversation anyway, so you found the right ghost for the job. There's really two things that I am aware of that I think are significant threats to the settlement in terms of the long-term viability of staying here. First of all, there's an area known as the Rock Blight. It is in the southeastern corner. Well, actually, I'm sorry, I have to work with this crazy compass rose. Northeastern corner. Um, and there is a region wherein, um, actually, hold on just a second. I think I got these mixed up. Yep. There's a region in which anytime people have gone out trying to explore, um, they have they've never come back. And I've seen some creatures wandering around in that area that can harm ghosts, so I haven't been able to investigate and bring back any um, intelligence myself. Um, but if you head just south of here a bit, there's sort of a staging area, and if you mention my name to the guards, they'll let you pass on through. And I believe that region of the Underdark, or well, of our city, I should say, also has the unfortunate distinction of causing earth elementals to go absolutely mad. Now, earth elementals are powerful allies to have at any given point in time, but when they go crazy on you and they murder civilians, that's a suboptimal situation. So I think there might be something that you may be able to do in that particular region. Um, and I think that the priest can still help you with a little bit of that. Um, but in addition to that, um, I'm also kind of concerned about a number of the other ghosts that are around here. Um, there's a ghost that's actually is that in? Hold on a second. Yep, there's a ghost actually that's pretty near here who has um, kicked out some residents from their own house, and he's gone crazy, and he doesn't seem to want to listen to me. And I am at a loss to actually stop him. So if you could deal with that particular problem, he can be located, and then he gives a particular location. So I'm going to draw a little circle here. And there is also, in that same region of Rock Blight, a deep gnome named Udhask. And I believe he died somewhere within the Rock Blight. And I think that his ghost could be laid to rest if he was brought back here. So I need you to go find his remains. Um, and it would really help us out. Do you have any questions?
Yes. So those things that can attack ghosts, how can they attack you?
Uh, Let me think about this because the explanation goes a little bit into the rules, and I have to figure out how he would sort of narratively explain it. Uh,
The reason I'm asking this is because you're asking us to deal with two ghosts, and while I'm sure that talking to them would be great, sometimes you have to use diplomacy with this beating stick, the good old beating stick, just like Mom used to use.
um, uh, the players are your characters are actually already aware that when it comes to ghosts, magic can harm them, and magical weapons inherently have some property about them that allows them to interact with the undead, like incorporeal creatures. That's part of the reason that they're so useful. I mean, you have to be able to see them and hit them, of course, but um, aside from that, if you can cause the weapon to pass through them, they'll take damage, and spirits can be destroyed and dispersed in that way. Um, but the slightly more slightly more elaborate explanation is that I think ghosts sort of are anchored in the astral plane, um, but protrude into the prime material plane, and so there is the properties of magical weapons allow you to strike a creature that protrudes into the prime material plane, if that
Hmm.
answers your question. And it's also difficult because he used to be a town guard. That's what warden means, and so I've had a bit of a loss to figure out how to explain that from the perspective of a town guard. So, anyways, but that is the answer to your question.
All right. Well, did any of the rest of you have questions?
Nope.
Okay, that sounds about right to me. And actually, let me move
Actually,
this.
well, actually, I do have one. Um, is the I'm not sure. Ghosts, do you need to be put to rest or something? Do you need something done to help you?
Uh, I think at the time being, it is I want to make sure before I go to rest that Blingden Stone is looked after and that the settlement will prosper. People are really struggling here to survive on a daily basis, and if I knew that they were, existing beyond subsistence, and the settlement was on the way up, then I could depart without feeling the need to watch over my kin. So there you go.
Cool. Thank you very much, Mr. Ghost.
You're welcome. Um, oh,
So where are we
he
headed first?
before you do, the priest has finished his ritual over the course of this conversation. Um, he turns to the party and waves at Yediger and also you, um, and signals you to come on over.
All right, gonna saunter up to him slowly and non-threateningly.
Um,
Well, he
so
said he might pass out.
yeah, he does look quite nervous. Um, he uh, um, he actually seems to have failed the ritual that he was working on. You have no idea what it was, but generally speaking, when one does a religious ritual with materials like that, they tend to get consumed in some sort of divine flash and then they're gone. And that didn't happen. So, anyways, when you walk up to him, um, hold on a second. I just got an email that demands attention. Uh, oh no. Okay. Oh. Okay, so just so you know what's going on, this is not going to affect me, but an apartment on the ninth floor had their sprinkler head rupture, resulting in some flooding. Um, and I saw water emergency in the building and just had to know what that was about. So now that I do, I can move on. Um, back to the task at hand. Anyways, um, Glyphic sort of smiles at you nervously and says, um, uh, did anybody happen to mention um, Ogremok's Bane to you, perhaps?
No. What's that?
Oh, 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 well, do you know who Ogremok is?
Can I make a history check so he doesn't have to stutter and explain?
Yeah, I can also skip the stuttering.
Oh no, I just meant less talking he does, less likely he's going to pass out.
Oh, okay. Arcana is relevant because this is a function, or this is a creature of the multiverse. So anybody who wants to make Arcana, or that'll do it. Um, Ogremok is, well, let me scroll back for just a second because I want to check one last thing. Yes, okay. So when the universe was created, well, not the universe, when the prime material plane was created, before the prime material plane was created, there were the four basic elemental planes: air, earth, water, and fire. Um, as the prime material plane was coming into existence, the concept of morality came into the creation of the universe. And so around the four basic elemental planes sprung um, planes of good, law, chaos, neutrality, evil, so on and so forth. And as those planes sprung up around the four basic elements, they touched those planes, and two twin sets of beings were brought into existence. There is on every single elemental plane a water prince of evil, or a X element prince of evil and an X element priest of good, or prince of good, I should say. So Ogremok is the elemental prince of evil. Entomok is Foil, the elemental earth prince of good. And so Ogremok is a evil earth being that seeks to emerge into the prime material plane, um, and occasionally will try to wipe out the world in a massive earthquake and then remake it in his image.
Cool.
So this is relevant because the this entity known as Ogremok's Bane is some sort of powerful elemental spirit of an unknown nature and unknown origin,
Hmm.
and it floats as some sort of um, strange dust cloud, and any earth elemental creature within its area is driven insane. And Glyphic looks at you again nervously. I think that if it's allowed to exist for too much longer, it could find its way into the settlement, and the earth elementals that we have doing our heavy lifting could end the settlement entirely. And so we've set up some reinforced barriers, and we have some guards there to at least warn us. Um, but I was trying to summon something much more powerful to assist me in banishing this creature, but I failed to do so. However, it's not much, but here, take this, and he holds out a scroll. And the scroll, when you unroll it, appears to be a banishment spell, which is a higher level priest spell. Um, and actually, I'm not sure exactly what level it is. I think it's 4. I want to check real quick because the fixer-upper may already have access to it as well.
Banishment is level 4. Abjuration, paladin, cleric, sorcerer, warlock, wizard.
Oh, okay. Oh, perfect. So you're going to add that to your spell book.
Well, actually, I don't have enough money for it right now, and I'm actually going to hold on to this one for the specific reason of we might need it to save our big.
Yes. Yes. So, anyways, I think this will do what we need it to. It's a little dangerous because you have to actually find um, Ogremok's Bane and you know cast it there and complete that standing in front of that horrible dusty cloud. So frankly, I'm glad I didn't have to do it because it was looking like that was going to be how it was going to go. So here you go. I'm gonna go take a rest now, and he looks a little green in the gills and waddles off into the temple.
So
Okay.
I'm confused. If it's called Ogremok's Bane, wouldn't it be a good thing? Because Ogremok's evil?
Um, the
I mean, I know ultimately it drives the elementals crazy, but
Yes, yes, you are sort of right. I understand your logic. The issue
Mhm.
here is that the settlement uses elementals, and
Right.
technically, um, under normal circumstances, if you cast the spell Conjure Elementals, you do not get good or evil elementals. You just get neutral elementals.
Uh,
Earth, fire, air, and water in their basic states are just neutral elements of the universe. They don't have morality assigned to them. It is
mhm.
these specific elemental princes that have um, um, morality attributed to them as part of the creation of the universe, and they have their own what's the word I want to use? They have their own um, goals,
Mhm.
which kind of get summed up by good and evil. So in this particular case, yes, if Ogremok was around, this cloud would be the bane of its existence, thus its
Mhm.
name. But in
But
this
we don't know where this cloud came from, right?
correct.
Okay.
But the threat that is immediately present is that it seems to be indiscriminately making Earth Elementals go insane, as opposed
Right.
to opposing Ogremok directly.
Who's not currently around, right?
No, if he was around, you would know it. You would know it. That's an entirely separate adventure. There's an
Oh
adventure where you
boy.
get to deal with that. So,
Okay. So we're gonna go banish the Bane.
oh, Bob, go ahead and reset your spell stuff. I'm gonna give you the short rest that you need. If anybody else is actually,
Thank
let me
you.
click this. Tristan, you may expend any number of hit dice that you need to if you want to heal up. Same goes for Melrath.
Tristan, did you roll your portent?
He doesn't need to. This is a short rest.
I thought it reset every day.
It does, but a short rest is an hour, not a day.
Okay.
Or did you mean from last session?
I don't know.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So, and Tristan doesn't benefit from
I'm going to use Arcane Recovery.
that happens during a short rest.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know that I actually have to click short rest on you, but I'm going to. There. So I'll leave you to handle that. Melrath doesn't get any benefits from it aside from the hit dice. Did you? Yes, you did. Okay. And then Tristan, you did. Okay. Everything's all set. So, at this point, again, as a summary, the things that are available for you to investigate or do, um, there are some undead. There's one that's actually pretty nearby, and I'm gonna grab Fargus just to make clear where you guys are presently. So you're over near Fargus. The red circle is one of the ghosts. Um, the Let me double check and make sure I have this right. The pointers, I'll do a cone. The were-rats are through that set of gates. Grab a square. The rock blight is through that set of gates. And people believe that the oozes may be coming through that set of gates.
What about the set of gates on the bottom right corner?
Bottom right corner. Those are barred off. They aren't actually gates. So remember how I said earth elementals are present? Well, earth
Hmm.
elementals, as part of their inherent nature, can shape stone up to a certain extent. So they have created a wall of stone over those two gates spaces. It's mostly just they're trying to explain this is actually normally a tunnel, but earth elementals have raised a wall of stone over it.
Okay,
So
and where's the ghost that needs to be taken back to the temple?
he is in the area that is marked through the area that is marked by the square.
Okay, so that's where the slimes are as well, right?
The slimes are believed to be through the arrow pointer gate.
Okay. Then what was the square again also? Was that the
Rock blight.
bad rock blight?
Yes.
Is
Okay,
that
gang.
the Bane?
Yes, the Bane is
Okay.
down there as well.
Okay, gang. What do you feel like we all want to do? What do you think is the biggest, like, most time efficient way to use our time?
Should I put up a vote? I don't know that we have enough options to cover everything, but
I would. Someone said slimes earlier,
yep,
but I would
that was
also say
Melrath.
since the ghost is in the area and the ghost might send us off to another place to do his bidding or something, or we just smack his face in, we can always just do that while we're close by.
Is there any sort of time limit?
No time limit that you're aware of.
Hmm.
Yeah, until the rock elementals start rebelling, I'm assuming. Once they start rebelling, I believe the timer starts clicking.
Well, I mean, technically, at this point, you know, all of these things are threats to the settlement, and any one of them could make itself an issue at any point in time. I guess is kind of the point that I was making.
Gotcha. Though actually, before we do anything else, who has the highest spellcasting stat? Like, whose spell save DC is the highest?
That's
It's
a
not
great
me,
question. Um,
because if they're capable of casting banishment, they should have that scroll because that is a if we need it to be as high as humanly possible.
Where do
Snake
you
is 20. So,
it is a tie between Snake and Bob.
all right, give it to Bob.
Oh,
And
is that
Bob's a cleric.
charisma for me?
Mhm.
Yeah, both of you have the same charisma score, which gives you both the
Gotcha.
same spell save DC.
Yeah, Bob is a cleric.
Bob is a
No.
warlock.
Okay, then Bob gets. There we go. He's on the list. So enjoy your banishment scroll, and if we don't use it, I would like to put it in my spell book, but I can't actually put it in until I can cast fourth level spells. So just
Okay.
Yeah, that's next level. So anyways,
Oh.
but yeah, add a scroll of banishment to your inventory, and be prepared to use it if we need it against Mister Evil Element.
inventory, scroll of banishment. Boop.
Oh, are you doing that?
Yep. That's a weird name for it. There we go. I called it
Mm.
Outstanding Scroll. It's a
Oh,
really
I have a
outstanding
small
scroll.
glass jar, but no Bilbo in it. What was his name?
Droki.
Drogo?
Droki.
Droki.
Yeah, yeah.
I miss him.
Uh, Kyle,
Yes.
are you peeling something in the background?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. We could hear it though.
I'm sorry.
Man. Okay, so anyways, right. So, I forget exactly where we were in the voting.
We are still deciding. So why don't we narrow it down to 2 choices and then
Yeah.
vote on that?
So,
I don't like were rats. Let's not do that.
you're
Do any
afraid
of
of
them
becoming
seem
a
like?
were-rat?
I just don't like them.
Oh,
They scare me.
okay.
Do any of them seem like more dangerous than the others that we should do first, or are they all pretty?
It's kind of hard to judge because you don't know an awful lot about them beyond that they need to be taken care of.
I
Um,
th- I'm gonna put in my vote for the ghost just because he's the closest.
okay. So check mark for the ghost. X mark for
The ghost is fine by me.
All right. Cool. Ghost it is. Let me get to the appropriate thing. Here we go. All right. So I'm gonna put this here for a minute, and then I'm gonna grab everyone and move them down to here. You can rearrange yourselves in this little space as you see fit. Nope.
Oh, I just burned a couple spell slots to heal Ront back.
Okay. Marcus.
The first one I was able to drop on his head. The second one just rolled, but
I'll
it
apply it
should.
to him.
Yeah, thanks. Because it
Yep.
was a good roll actually.
It was.
Doesn't he also get a benefit from a short rest, or is he not a PC?
He's not a PC in that. Whoop! I did the opposite. You know, he's there we go.
Yay, he's dead again.
Yeah. Let me also. Oh, he's still cursed. That's cute. Okay. So right. Give me just a moment. I want to get to the appropriate location. So when you make it into this cavern, there is a male and female um, deep gnome couple. A lot of their stuff is on the ground outside of their house. A lot of it is also broken. Um, they both look particularly terrified, and the male deep gnome is rubbing the shoulders of his wife. And they look beside themselves. And as you're approaching, um, some cutlery and a mug is hurled out the front and shatters to the ground. What do you do?
Hey there, we're here to help.
Oh, uh, well, this is kind of embarrassing. We seem to have been ejected from our house. Um, so there's this kind of crazy ghost creature in there, and he kind of appeared out of nowhere, and he just started to throw a crazy fit, and we tried calling the guards, and they didn't really seem to be able to handle him, so uh, you know, we just we don't know what to do. He won't listen to reason, and yeah, if you're gonna go in there, be careful. He has quite a bit of arm behind him, and he can really hurl those mugs. He says, rubbing a bump on his head.
Well, what has he said? Anything? Has like other than throwing your cutlery or your silverware?
Uh, Actually, no, I don't even know who that is. You know, we moved in there about 4 months ago, and we've been living just fine until literally earlier today, and then all of a sudden this ghost appeared in the middle of our house, and we were having lunch, and we looked at him, and he looked at us, and then all of a sudden he shrieked and he started screaming, "Mine, my stuff, not yours!" And then everything went crazy, and he started throwing things at us. I protected my wife from a mug, and we ran out of the house screaming. and he's
May I
still at it.
roll? How do you tell if someone's lying?
That would be insight.
Yeah, they're screwed.
Okay. Anybody
Does
else want
anyone
to
else want
roll?
to roll insight to see if they're telling the truth?
That
You
was a
think they're
terrible
lying?
roll.
Why would
I
they?
mean, it's very
There you
random
go.
that a ghost is just somehow pissed off at them and is saying it's all his stuff.
Well, good job, Bob.
Wait a minute. Wow. Okay. Um, you know, now that you mention it, um, the the person who's been speaking, he really does genuinely seem very confused. But the entire time that he's been talking, his wife seems to be clutching at her chest, and unless she's not wearing a bra, it seems like she might be hiding something.
It's the wife. It's always the wife. Can we ask her if she's hiding anything?
I mean, you're the one who passed the insight test.
Um,
Just narratively, I'm curious. Like, approximately, how are you going to ask her about her clutching her
I
chest?
know, right? Like,
So, I got this. So, just to be sure, you had nothing at all to do with this whatsoever, and it's not like you're hiding anything from us because that could be really bad and could make this a lot worse for everyone involved. Because we're just trying to help you here, staring very um
Pregnantly?
obviously.
Yeah. Roll a persuasion check. Anybody else who wants to can try as well.
how about an intimidation? I'm good at that.
No.
Oh, that would be you
That's bad.
walking up to her, poking your
Pointing her
finger
in the
into her
face.
chest and screaming.
I mean,
You want to go all drill sergeant on her? That's fine.
I might be all right with that too.
So
Well,
wow,
good job, Bob.
wow. So the party does a really good job of just looking, very very somber about all this. You're very serious about how, this could just really go badly if it turns out that you go in there and fight this nasty ghost for just no reason. And the wife kind of breaks down and she says, "Well, I guess it could possibly be related to these." And she reaches down in between her cleavage and she pulls out a lumpy bag, and she looks around kind of furtively, and then she peels back a corner of the bag and she reveals that there's a whole bunch of rubies in there. And the rubies are they're very long, they're about the size of a thumb. um, and they seem to be fairly well polished and shaped, so they're probably pretty valuable. I mean, I found these about an hour before lunch when I was straightening up, and I didn't know where they came from. And it's our house, so I just kind of figured I would see if I could bring in some extra cash for the home.
This is starting to sound like an episode of Supernatural.
Exactly what it is. Do you know who owned this house before you?
Well, no, I mean, uh, we've been here, or the deep gnomes. The settlement was destroyed, right? Like initially, the
Mm-hmm.
Drow came in and kind of wiped everyone out. Well, there aren't really any records. I mean, the original head of government is off in an unused quarter of the city that's been deemed too dangerous to inhabit. So no, nobody had any record of who owned what, and it was just an available house, and the Digrammatics just assigned homes to people, and we don't know anything about who inhabited them before. Sorry, that was a good 30 years ago.
Well, so those rubies are definitely not yours, and they probably belong to that ghost, and that's probably why he's wrecking your house. And by the time that he's done, he will probably have done more damage to your house than those are worth.
Well, you do make a good point, but um, I just I don't. mean to sound too greedy, but just what good is it gonna do him? He can't even hold them.
But he can throw them
Yeah,
at you.
ghosts are fickle creatures.
I
But
suppose that's true. She holds out the bag and drops it into your hand. Here, if this will help, and you don't have to take a plate to the head or something, I'll trust you to do the right thing with them.
okay.
So, what's your approach going into this abode?
Duck.
Who's the beat shield?
Well, that would
Well,
be
I healed Ront
Melroth.
for a reason.
Yeah.
I
Who,
think
who
I have more max HP than Ront at this point.
Do we
Oh
have to
yeah,
fight the
but that's
ghost?
what makes it fun. He always ends up getting knocked into death saves.
you
Oh,
won't know until you go in there. I mean,
can we intimidate the ghost? I
you
really want to
can
use this skill.
you can absolutely try. If you want to storm in there and try to intimidate the ghost, you can do that.
I'm not sure I'm so intimidating.
Do
I
it.
mean,
Give it a
it's
shot.
all up to a die roll.
No, that's all right.
Okay. Okay. Maybe there'll be another opportunity. Maybe you can intimidate some were rats.
All right. Well, if no one else is going in first, Tristan's going to go in first, and I have the lowest AC in this party.
What if you sent in your bat? Could he do anything?
Then he would die.
Well, yeah, there's a
You
decent
could
chance he
get
would
another
die.
one.
I'll go in, or Fixer Upper will. He's the cleric, so he should go in.
Yeah, he has good armor class. So
Yeah.
the fixer
And also,
upper.
he can talk. So, would you like the ruby?
Yes.
Okay. So Tristan, are you going with him? Who is going with him?
Oh, I'm going in. I'm just not going in first.
Sure, sure. So we've got Tristan and the fixer upper. Is Snake coming?
Sure, why not?
Bob?
I'll sit this one out.
Melrath?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay. So Bob covers the rear in case more ghosts appear mysteriously.
Yeah.
And bravely runs
Very
away.
intimidating.
Yes,
hmm
yes. He's menacing the entire courtyard. So when everybody else goes inside of this area, you're actually a little bit surprised. It turns out that what is that for? Ah, aha. He's
I'm not
growling at
very intimidating.
passerbys and looking gruff.
Okay, I'm
Um,
done.
so inside of the space, you actually find that there are three different homes. Um, there's sort of a central courtyard, and it's actually a rather homey one. Aside from the ghost hurling things out of the abode to the north, so I'm going to shrink down this circle to here, and then go like this. This is the house in question.
Mhm.
There we go. The central courtyard is fairly homey, but of course the howling of the ghost draws a all of the attention. The other homes, the two to the south of that space, have shut their doors tightly. This strikes you as ironic, as most ghosts are incorporeal, and a closed door probably serves no actual barrier. Um, but anyways, you approach the entrance, and a plate is hurled out and shatters. That one looked like it was probably in the family for a while, so that's a shame. Um, but there's a lot of muttering and a lot of growling. But it seems like the hurling has died down for the moment. Are you going to talk to him from out here? Are you going to charge in there and try to surprise him?
I think that surprise is probably not the best idea. I think I'm going to explain to him what I have, what my intentions are, and try and put him at ease.
Okay. So you you talk very calmly, very quietly. You also have your shield up so that like your eyes are kind of peeking over the top of it, and it's ready at a moment's notice to move upward to protect your head. Um, the creature inside looks really terrifying. Like its features are distorted. It has like sharp fangs. Its eyes are burning motes of anger. Um, and he he says, "Why why do you invade Vazuk's home? This is mine, my home, my home." Anybody else can also speak. It's not all on
Well,
Drow.
I mean,
We're sorry, we didn't know it's your home, and we're actually not trying to invade. We're just trying to give you back your stuff.
can I roll religion, or is that
Yes,
kind of irrelevant?
absolutely.
All
No,
right.
no, you can. Anybody can. Okay. Let me pull up a little bit of information. Boop, 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 boop. Monster manual, NPCs by alphabetical. Oh, are you kidding me? SP. There it is. Okay. Actually, this is relevant. This is more or less what it looks like, except deep gnomish. Um, This creature is not exactly a ghost. It is a specter. A specter is an angry, unfettered spirit of a humanoid that has been prevented from passing into the afterlife. Specters no longer possess connections to who or what they were, yet are condemned to walk the world forever. Some are spawned when dark magic or the touch of a wraith rips a soul from a living body. Um, when a ghost's unfinished business is completed, it can rest at last. No such redemption awaits a specter. It is doomed to the material plane. Its only end is the oblivion that comes from the destruction of its soul, and until then, it bears out its lonely life in forlorn places, carrying on, forgotten through the ages of the world.
Interesting. So it sounds like the rubies won't help it. Okay.
It is also especially noteworthy that sunlight represents a source of life that no specter can ever hope to douse, and it pains them. If night
Hmm.
falls, they can leave their final resting places in search of living creatures to slay, knowing that few weapons can harm them in return. But at the light of first dawn, they retreat back into the darkness where they remain until night falls again, which is kind of terrifying in the Underdark because it is always night here.
So you're saying he wouldn't like it if I cast light?
Uh, Daylight. You need a source
Oh,
of daylight, which the party
no, I
does
don't have
happen
it.
to have.
The
Melrath.
sun sword?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Melrath.
It is also very important to note that this creature has a litany of resistances and immunities. Resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, thunder, and any attacks from non-magical weapons. It is also immune to necrotic damage and poison damage, and it has a whole bunch of condition immunities as well. Um, yeah. But anyways,
But is a specter inherently evil or no?
It sounds like it is. It's
Yeah.
not inherently evil. It's just inherently damned. And the
Hmm.
nicest thing we can do to it right now is put it out of its fucking misery.
And kill it.
yeah.
It's one of those things where it's done nothing wrong except exist, and unfortunately, its existence needs to.
Yep, that's more or less the gist of it. So let me grab this then.
But if somebody has to create it, who did create it then?
That
Dark
is a
magic, maybe?
very important question. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle,
Huh?
that's uncalled for. Let me.
Also, I'm just going to say, since we're out of earshot, the rubies worked. The rubies totally were involved in all of what we just did.
And now you have
Right.
rubies,
Yeah.
which is
Yes.
always the most important outcome of any adventure. So I'm just fiddling with this map here for a second, and then bloop, there it is. So, um, assuming that you're going to put it out of its misery and there's no further discussion, roll for initiative.
I suppose I'm jumping in to help too.
You can always rush in when you hear the sounds of battle.
Yeehaw!
Jesus, this guy is
Yeah,
not going to get a turn.
no, he is not. He is royally fucked. Okay.
Wow.
Wow, you guys are on fire with these initiatives. Okay. Okay. So Tristan, you're up first.
Toll the Dead.
How appropriate. You might need to reconsider that.
Isn't that necrotic damage?
That's why.
I legitimately do not have a type of damage he does not resist. So, or
Oh,
is he immune?
he resists acid, cold, fire, lightning, thunder, is immune to necrotic and
Oh,
poison.
son of a whore! Fine, I
Yeah.
have to use a spell slot on him. You're gonna suck. Fine, Scorching Ray.
You don't
Okay.
have any force?
No,
Is that not common? Yeah.
not prepared. Oh, actually, nope, I did not
Hmm.
prepare magic missile, so no.
Damn it.
Wow, hit on a 12. Okay, missed on a 10.
Okay.
And that's my turn.
Well done. As you already were aware, it tended to resist some of the searing effects, but it did impact the creature, and you could see it writhe and cry out in pain. Fixer Upper, you are up.
All right, I'm going to try and double attack it with the Mace of Disruption. So
Okay.
just roll that on his head.
Yep. Okay, so you clearly hit.
Roll again or damage?
Um, roll again, and
Okay.
then damage. Another hit.
All right.
Okay, and then I think you also get a 2d6. Let me see how the weapon is set up in the. Huh. Properties, magic, bludgeoning, magic. That's interesting. Roll an additional 2d6 just, in the chat. Oh my god, that stupid alarm.
Snake eyes with snake, but yeah, 2.
Okay, so we'll add an additional 2 damage to it. There we go. Okay, so now roll your normal bludgeoning damage. I get it, you're an emergency vehicle, seriously. There, that actually did it. The Mace of Disruption is extremely effective. You swipe at the creature, its entire form warps and changes around the impact of the blow. It manages to resist 1, but
That's the
2,
extra damage that we didn't need.
yeah, 2 was far more than it could sustain, and the second strike causes it to explode in a burst of radiant light. The specter is wiped from existence, and you can feel the malevolent aura that it was exuding vanish within seconds. Um,
Hmm.
and in fact, for people who were outside, such as Bob, the family themselves actually immediately begins to cease trembling. They too can sense the passing of that
Hmm.
spirit. So,
But we still needed those rubies. Sorry.
Oh no, the rubies are going in the bag of holding. The rubies are gone. We
oh
used them to exercise the ghost.
We threw them at him.
yeah, and then there was a burst of light, and then the rubies were consumed in that burst of light, and we have to
All right,
go.
which one of us has the
We have
highest
to go now.
deceptions?
Goodbye. Goodbye. Thank you.
Which one of us has the highest deception score? Or you know what? We just won't mention the rubies.
She's not even asking questions. She's so happy that that she
I
can go
feel
Um,
back
kind of I
inside.
feel kind of badly about this though, guys. I mean, they're not our rubies. I'm just saying.
they are now, and this is not the time to grow a conscience.
Well, I believe in lawful characters. All right, fine.
So,
I do
anyways,
too, but I'm playing a kobold, and these things are as big as my head.
mm,
She did try to deceive us a little bit at the beginning.
Yes.
yeah, I
There
mean,
you go.
she would have gotten
Um,
away with it if it weren't for you meddling kobolds.
I have a question though. Is so we was there anything else in the house that might have caused him to rise up, or anything
Oh,
specific
oh, oh,
about
oh.
the movies?
Actually, before we resolve this, hold on a second. Oops, I pulled up the wrong one. There's an additional. Nope, that's not it. This one. Uh, so here's what I'm going to say. Once the specter seems to have vanished, you're going to go inside. Now, normally I would have you roll a perception roll. However, you are already aware of the situation, and most importantly of all, the fixer-upper has an incredible passive perception. So what ends up happening is you do a quick pass around the house to make sure that the spirit hasn't, turned incorporeal or invisible or anything of the sort. And what you find is that there was a space underneath the bed where a what's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry. Flagstone, I think it is, would be appropriate. Like there's stonework on the floor. Um,
Mm-hmm.
one of those had been pried up, and the rubies were down there, and there were also a couple of other personal belongings, but the rubies were the only actual valuable thing. It looks like she probably sort of pawed through the rest of it to see if anything else was of use or of note. But there's things in there like a letter opener, a stamp that is related to signing contracts for trade deals, things of that nature. There's a number of things down there that a merchant would have possessed. A pair of old brass scales that wouldn't be of use to anybody.
So you're saying we should steal that too?
You
No.
are always welcome to.
I think he's saying that this was someone's grave, or this is where their final belongings were.
Did he have a name, or was that just the type of thing that he was?
His name was Vazook.
Oh, what was the Slither Burster?
The Snurfniblin is the name of the
Yeah.
race for deep gnomes.
Okay.
They just get called deep gnomes because people got
It's
Nobody
pissed
can
easier.
off.
pronounce it.
Yeah. Nobody wants to say Snurfniblin.
Exactly.
Well, um, does it look like it's not going to come back though?
Yeah. No, that's absolutely been the conclusion of this. I just missed that last little bit about searching the home.
Well, job well done.
Indeed. Now, the only other piece of ghost related business is off in the rock blight, as it's believed that somebody's corpse is out there somewhere and it needs to be returned to the temple so it can be put to rest.
Oh, also, we're just going to be like, you're very welcome. We saved your house, and do we get to make the gnomes happier with us now, or no?
Yes, everybody in the party roll a straight up charisma check, and then I will close this and watch the results and see what we get. Uh huh.
Is that saves or ability?
Ability. Okay. Um, the gnomes have considered your actions to be honorable in aiding those people and in trying to speak to a ghost before dismissing it from the world. So the gnomes are looking more favorably upon you. There's still a little bit more space before they'll consider you an ally, but you've done them services and they have not forgotten, or rather, it has not gone unnoticed, is what I mean. So yes, are you guys going to follow up with a rock blight, or do you want to do something else first? Because it's both related to the ghost and to Ogremok's Bane.
Well, I have one very important question first. How much are the rubies worth?
Oh yeah, that's a super important question. The rubies are worth. There are 8 rubies. They're worth 250 gold pieces each. And actually, I'm supposed to be giving you the treasure from that. Give me a second.
Wow.
They are. Wow, indeed. So let me. Here
Did you say
go
250 or 200 each?
250. And in fact, if you click on Party Sheet and go to Inventory, tiny rubies. Now, I believe you possess these. Oop,
But you put
and
them as 200 gold each.
I put them at.
In the party inventory, it says 8 rubies, 200 GP each.
On my screen, I clicked on the dragon head next to Tiny Ruby. It says cost 250.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't see the 200. All I see is 250. 250.
That's
Okay.
very weird.
Well, there you go. So there's your tiny rubies. Um, right. So that's been covered. Um, now what?
I'm good with staying with the ghost theme.
Okie doke.
Sure.
Okay, so
So
let's go do ghosting then.
We're like
I'm
Scooby.
yes. Scooby Gang hunting down the ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
I've moved Fargus once again to show where the party is located. So you've moved into this area. This cave is fortified with barricades and defended by 8 deep gnomes. They also have 4 large cave badgers. Uh, and there are no earth elementals reinforcing security here because the passage on the north wall, which has been sealed off, leads to that area where Ogremok's main is confirmed, and they don't necessarily want to have any earth elementals nearby because that's a very dangerous canary in your
Hmm.
coal mine. So once you make it into this area, there is the leader of the guard steps forward, and he introduces himself as Sark Axe Barrel. Um, Now, I don't know what you think your business is here, but I have to warn you that there's been a confirmed report of Medusa lying beyond these gates. And if you're not prepared for that, I wouldn't set foot in there if I were you.
Surely we have a petrification removal thing, right?
Yeah,
Also, that's not a real thing, Medusa, right?
no, that's a real thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing in this
Ugh.
game.
Now, if it turns out that you're intent on going in there regardless, if you bring me back the head of that Medusa, I'll give you 1,000, or I'll give you a diamond worth 1,000 gold.
Nice. Sounds great.
We should tell him
Um,
that we need it to defeat Medusa.
Well, we
so
need to create a laser to saw our
Right.
head off. Yeah.
Right.
this
Well,
is
Yeah.
the place with
there's
the
the
rock blight, right?
huh?
This
Yes,
is the place with the rock blight, right?
absolutely.
Oh, is a rock blight Medusa?
The region is called Rock Blight. The Medusa inhabits that region.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, uh, I
We
haven't
didn't have a
actually. Can I do?
scroll of protection from petrification, did we?
There is no scroll for that.
Oh,
However,
okay.
I can tell you right now that even though he is moderately inept, being an Earth Priest actually gives Glyphic some additional
Ooh, I like
filter of
that.
love. Uh,
There you go.
Being an Earth Priest gives Glyphic the ability to more efficiently deal with issues related to Medusa because they are
Mm.
partially Earth element creatures
Mhm.
because they turn things to stone. You see, so any issues that the party has, as long as you can gain access to the petrified person, Glyphic should be able to revive that particular character for you.
Okay.
Does anyone shield reflect stuff?
I think we'd have to make a roll for that one because that's a little bit meta.
And in fact, actually, if you guys want, since you know it's Medusa, you can try to roll Arcana checks now to try to get you
Mm.
some information about it.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Well, that is more than good enough for me. Um,
Even better.
this is what a Medusa looks like, if anybody was
Ugh.
unclear. As deadly as they are ravishing, the serpent-haired Medusa suffer from an immortal curse brought on by their vanity. They lurk in quiet exile among the tumbled ruins of their former lives, surrounded by the petrified remains of past admirers or would-be heroes. Um, I'm skimming this to see if there's anything else in here that's super relevant.
Hmm.
Okay. A Medusa is subject to its own curse. By looking vainly on its reflection, it turns to stone as surely as any living mortal. As a result, the Medusa destroys or removes any mirrors or reflective surfaces in its lair, including those brought in by other heroes. Um, the most important thing that you need to know is related to Medusa's petrifying gaze, because I want to make very clear that the rules on this are absolute. When a creature sees or can see the Medusa's eyes, that can see the Medusa's eyes, starts its turn within 30 feet of the Medusa forces it to make a DC 14 Constitution saving throw if the Medusa isn't incapacitated and can see the creature. Failing the save significantly can cause the creature to become petrified instantly. Otherwise, if it fails its save, it begins to turn to stone and is restrained. And then there's a process that goes into the petrification. Um, Unless surprised, a creature can avert its eyes to avoid the saving throw at the start of its turn. If the creature does so, it can't see the Medusa until the start of its next turn, when it can choose whether or not to avert its eyes. If the creature looks at the Medusa in the meantime, it must immediately make the save. Um, and so the short of this is, at the start of every single turn, I'm giving you a binary choice, yes or no. Are you looking at the Medusa? If yes, you have to make the saving throw. If you fail, then you fail, and there's bad consequences for it, which you're already aware of. If you choose not to look at the creature, we're treating the creature as if it were invisible. Your attacks against it are made at disadvantage if you're making an attack roll. Saving throws carry no disadvantage, so if you're a spellcaster, using saving throw based spells would be advantageous.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's how it goes. Now, one of the other things that I can throw in there that's important to remember, because most of the people in the party are somewhat new to D&D, advantage and disadvantage just cancel each other out. So if there's anything that you can do that helps you gain advantage against the creature, you can choose not to look at it, and the advantage cancels out the disadvantage, and you just make a standard roll. Okay?
Okay.
And there's no negotiating around whether or not you are looking at the Medusa. It's just a yes or a no. It does have some additional attacks above and beyond. Its snake hair is animate and can attack, and it tends to equip the same sort of weapons that a party would: swords, bows, things of that nature. Um, and there you go. Any other questions about it?
So I'm gonna ask the dwarf, when did the Medusa start showing up?
Well, truthfully, about 10 years ago, we moved into the remains of Blingdenstone and started trying to reclaim it. And we we're low in number, and the settlement's been growing ever since. But as we expand out and sort of fill the space, we have to deal with a variety of different monsters that have inhabited the space, and taken over in our absence. And when we discovered and heard rumors that the Medusa lie beyond, we just sealed the area off. We also knew that it was a space that we believe Ogremock's Bane inhabits, and it just seemed wiser to simply seal the area and be done with it, than to try to deal with it at present. But I have the authority to open those gates, so there you go. But to directly answer your question, sometime between the end of Blingdenstone, when the Drow attacked us, and present day.
And you guys haven't gone in there, riled her up or anything?
Oh no, we've absolutely sent scouts in there to try to get some information on her, see if we could confirm her existence, but they never come back.
Pity.
In
Okay.
fact, in fact, give me just a second here. Udhask was one of our brightest scouts, and he had been sent in by the digger Maddox to try to confirm the existence of the Medusa. Like if he found scales or shed skin from the snake, he could bring that back without ever having to see the creature. And we thought that that alone might be enough to keep him safe, and it apparently wasn't. He hasn't been seen in a week.
Gotcha.
Anything else?
And do you want her head?
Well, I need proof that she's been killed. Ideally, her head would be the best proof of all. So that's what I'm asking for.
What if we can just get her to leave permanently?
Um, well, I would still need proof that you've actually succeeded in that because I can't risk sending in deep gnomes into the area only to have them all turn to stone. Like we don't have the numbers to just kind of throw them in there and take you at your word, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so if we bring her out with like a bandage around her eyes, and she says, "Oh no, I'm going to leave," and then leaves, that'd be good enough.
Well, yeah, if we escort her out and she leaves without hurting anyone, that would be fine. I'd be very surprised. She seems a bit testy, but hey.
She just hasn't found the right special someone.
Yeah, she's about to though, I suspect.
Alrighty. Um. Oh wait. Shall we all go?
How about we send Bat in?
No.
Stone bats aren't very useful.
You can pick it up and throw it at her.
You can sonar its way into stone.
Batarang,
Oh wait,
go.
wait.
Stone batarang.
Actually, I'm curious. Bat can see using his hearing while blind, correct?
Let me pull up that information.
Bat has advantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on hearing, and it has blind sight of 60 feet.
Uh-huh, where are you going with this?
Um, so if the Medusa can't force someone to make the save if they can't see, right?
But the bat can see. I understand that it says blind sight 60 feet. That's to give you a sense of its echolocation, but actual bats can see.
Well, yes, but if he uses his echolocation only and closes his eyes.
It's for a snake girlfriend. He'll do it.
Yeah, I understand how you're trying to be clever. I read up on Medusa before running this particular thing. I have found that the answer is rules wise, anything that you do to sort of get around it actually is a significant hamper to the Medusa itself and takes away all challenge should you choose to fight it.
That's fine. Then I'm not sending in the bat.
Okay,
I
well,
think
the
actually
bat
she
is
wants
just
to
kind of
do that.
hanging out on your backpack. He has like a perch, so he's with you guys. And if you choose to send him out anywhere, you can. So
Yes.
okay, the party is going to enter now, unless you have any other questions.
Oh,
Nope.
let's get this over with.
All right, I go like that.
Actually, which one of us is the hardest hitter in this party?
Ront.
He's the one that takes the hardest hits.
And who has the
Oh,
filter of who has the filter of love?
Melrath, right?
I really think we should use that at some point
Yeah,
this
I
game.
got it.
Cool. I'm gonna touch Malrath. Malrath is gonna be invisible for the next hour. Enjoy
Ooh.
it because it is very clear that the Medusa has to be able to see you.
Okay. Um, just so that people don't have to move their tokens around, we can just move Fargus to mark where the party is. That's fine. So once you make it through the gates, once you make it through that second set of gates right there, that gate is sealed behind you, and you can hear a very large bar of some sort of mithril adamantine combination being slid over the door. Like you saw it on the other side, and you're aware that they very, intently bar it. When the bar moves into place, however, there is suddenly a subtle shimmer that ripples over the door. And once the shimmer completes its ripple, it vanishes, and the door looks exactly as it did before. Um, but you sense that there might be a little more to the covering of that door than you had initially thought. So off to the west, um, you can see that there is mounds and mounds of stone that have been piled up and very securely packed into place. Some of the stone looks like it's been almost melded together, and as a result, it looks like it was probably manipulated by an earth elemental. There is, however, some space off to the northeast from here. And let's see here. Since it's the only way to go, I'm going to move you guys to right about here, and then I'm going to start revealing some stuff. I just want to... just going to go like this. That should be about right. Oh, let me also go like that, just to make it a little more clear. No, apparently not. There we go. So, every step that you take echoes against walls beyond your circle of light. The air is cold and damp, and you can hear a waterfall somewhere in the blackness, along with the faint echoes of a battle. That's it.
Battle?
Yes, a battle. Faint echoes of a battle.
Okay, well, fine. Bad is gonna go forward and see what's going
Okay. Um, give me just a second. Is that... Huh, okay. So let me also grab this. Sorry, this and nope, not that one. This one. I always get those two mixed up. Go like this thing is so finicky. Grab this, place here, and click, and then oops, put this over here. Ugh. And then of course it's put behind. Got that there, and then close that, and boop. Out of nowhere, a a ghost appears. Um, when it appears, here we go. Can I do this against the... Okay, I'm not quite sure. Oh, I know what to do. I got it. The ghost appears, and when it appears, its face twists and warps and expands outwards in a horrifying visage. And then I do... Here it is. How do I... There we go. Okay, so let's see here. Snake fails. Tristan succeeds. Bob succeeds. Fargus succeeds. Tazrath, who I accidentally got in here, fails. Fixer Upper succeeds. Wait a minute, Melrath is left out somehow.
Do keep in mind he's invisible.
Melrath?
Yes, I cast invisibility on him.
Oh. Okay, then that's perfectly fine. So anybody that is affected, and I think that really just comes down to Snake, you're terrified by the vision that this creature caused, and anybody who succeeded is immune to the effect. Let me also check something else. Oh, this is important. When Snake fails, because of the amount that he failed, Snake has been aged 11 years. So his
Wow.
his skulls gain a sheen to them, a nasty sheen. And yeah, he's now 11 years older as a result of the terror that has incited upon his soul. Um, yeah, let's just keep the previous initiative orders. Tristan, you are actually up first now that it has
Can I
surprised you.
can I make a roll to see what kind of damages it might be immune to or resist?
Yes, of course. Religion would be great. Okay. Um, So this creature qualifies as a ghost. It is resistant to acid, fire, lightning, and thunder. Cold is not. It is immune to cold and necrotic and poison. It also takes reduced. Oh. It takes reduced damage from non-magical weapons, and it can't be charmed, exhausted, frightened, grappled, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, prone, or restrained.
Well, I'm going to do something really, really, really stupid, but it's the first time I've been able to use this. Since
Okay,
I don't want to waste my.
I'm all ears.
All right, I'm going to walk up, within 10 feet of him, and then I'm going to, for my action, cower pathetically in front of him, sniveling and groveling and cowering and begging.
What's the game effect of this?
As an action on my turn, I can cower pathetically to distract nearby foes. Until the end of my next turn, your allies gain advantage on attack rolls against enemies within 10 feet of you that you can see.
Very cool. All right. There's no save for that, so that's just the effect. You start sniveling, throw yourself on the ground, making a very pathetic display. The ghost is confused because he horrified you. You resisted it, and then you started groveling for reasons that he can't quite comprehend. So he's staring at you with a great deal of confusion until the fixer-upper does something.
The fixer-upper will attempt to attack with Mace of Disruption.
You have an advantage on every
Cool.
single attack roll until the beginning of my next turn, as long as he's within 10 feet of me. Kobolds are ridiculously broken. Thankfully, I can only do that once per short or long.
And in fact, all you have to do is mark off advantage down
Right.
below where the modifiers are when you make your rolls.
I think I'll be double attacking again. Yep. Okay, so that means I'll have one left after that today. Oh, it's a crit. So I should roll the damage right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Do I just roll that on him?
Yes.
It does. Okay, it auto calculates. I forgot.
It's supposed to. There we go.
And now, I actually remembered that as an orc, a half orc, I remembered my racial ability, which enables me to add a die roll on a crit. I
Well,
finally
that's
remembered.
very
Yeah.
cool.
So that means I'll roll another d6, I guess. And then should I just roll that on him?
I think if you roll, is
Or
it
is it
1d6 or 2d6 for undead?
It's 1, yeah.
Okay. Then make it 2, and I think if you roll it directly on him, he should just take the damage in theory. And if he doesn't, I know how to add it.
Oh, but I mean it's literally 1, so I don't want to roll 2 unless it's oh,
Well,
you mean in term
when you do a crit, all
yeah.
damage dice that are rolled for a weapon are doubled.
Right, but this ability is a little strangely worded. Text. When you score a critical hit, you may roll one of the weapon's damage rolls one additional time and then add that damage to the hit.
You're right. That is a little strangely worded.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go with what it's got written there because that makes a lot of sense to me. So go for it. Roll the one additional dice, and we'll see what you get.
Okay. It's not letting me roll it on his head, so I'll just roll it in chat. Okay, so I guess it was a 3.
And also, does he get the extra 2d6 because it's against a ghost?
Yeah, that comes after.
I'm confused. I thought that the 2d6 was if the 2d6, the 10 damage that you dealt up above was from the critical hit, and that's just the weapon
Yes.
roll, then isn't the
Yes.
1d6 that you rolled the bonus damage?
That's the orc damage, but then there's also the bonus damage that's against an undead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm following you now. Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. Should I roll that on his head?
If you can. If it doesn't let
Okay.
you, that's fine.
It's not letting me.
Okay, then just roll it in the chat and I will apply it.
Okay. And that's my first attack. I know.
Okay.
And then for the second attack, wow, hit on 13.
Actually, you have advantage on that one as well. So see if you can roll for.
Well, you hit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the 2d6. Which just has to go in the chat.
Okay.
7.
And then I've
Okay.
applied that. So at this point, as soon as the creature is struck, give me a second here. Sorry, I lost my page because stupid thing. The ghost shouts, "They're coming! Everyone must hide!" And its demeanor completely changes. Um, the ghost immediately begins to flee. It's moving in this direction. Are you going to attempt to follow it? Or continue searching the caves?
I
I
say
probably would do
no.
so.
Question: Can ghosts be petrified?
They are immune to petrification.
So why would he be running? Uh-huh. What did he say again? It's coming or they're coming?
They are coming. Everyone must hide.
Hmm.
Since you guys have rolled identification stuff for ghosts already, a lot of times ghosts can be triggered into reenacting the traumatic last couple of moments of their life.
Mm.
That may be an effect going on here.
Ooh, let's follow him and find his body then.
Very well.
Or I can at least send Bat after him.
So the creature actually flees to right here. There's a little space in the wall, and once you get to that location and follow him, um, you can see that there's actually an old burrow. And once it reaches that burrow, the creature just disappears. So delete token. Boop. And once it pops out of existence, looking down into the burrow, the space is basically a crawl space. It looks like it goes back maybe 8 feet, but it's probably not much more than 4 feet up. And you can see um, that the skeletal remains are down in that burrow. And looking from here, because you're kind of shining a light down into the space to examine him, um, there's actually no evidence whatsoever that he died a violent death. Like, you've seen plenty of creatures that have. You've inflicted violent deaths on plenty of creatures, and you know that like bones are broken or have chunks cut out of them from daggers, longswords, a variety of metal weapons. And his skeletal remains are completely whole. Nothing has been like shattered or splintered. And one hand is clutching at his chest near his heart, and the other hand is stretched out towards something at the back of the burrow. It looks like there's a small pouch all the way back there, and he couldn't quite reach it.
Maybe it's more rubies.
Could well
Mage
be.
hand?
Ooh, there you
Mage
go.
Hand slips into the burrow. It grabs the pouch, and it pulls it out, and you find a potion of invisibility and 6 small gemstones worth 100 gold pieces each. I believe they are fluorite.
Hmm.
Grab this and put it into
Well,
the thingy. Who wants the potion of invisibility?
Someone who can hit hard should take it, because we'll need to get some.
Maybe Ront.
No.
Fixer upper should take it, I guess.
Okay. Oh, because there's no T. And then I'll put the gemstones on Melrath. There we go. And distribute. Boop. Okay, so stuff has been distributed.
And he's got, and the hand clutching to his chest doesn't have anything in it?
No, 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 no. I just have to go to Fixer Upper's inventory because I think the potion, yeah, it wasn't identified. So let me just fix that. There we go. That's all been taken care of. So at this point, you actually still kind of hear the sounds of battle, but having chased the ghost around and interacted in a very brief battle of your own, what you come to find is that if you go off in the directions you think you hear it from, anytime that you move in the directions of that battle, the sounds of battle seem to recede off into the distance,
Hmm.
and you never seem to quite be able to pin down where they're coming from. They aren't getting any louder and they aren't getting any closer, so you all kind of look at each other and shrug your shoulders. Um, Now in this room, there are a set of stairs leading off to the northwest. There's also a pool which seems like it might have two stairs around either side of it leading up into maybe some sort of cave area.
Go, Bat, go! Check out the thing behind the waterfall.
Okay. A shallow, swiftly flowing stream bisects this cave. Um, well, actually, he flies up inside. There's a small waterfall, leads out into a pooled area, but when he goes up inside, that's where you see the stream. Crystalline formations sprout from the floor on both sides of the stream, and rough-hewn staircases at the back of the cave climb 30 feet to a barren stone ledge with a pair of winged statues perched atop it. Um, there also appears to be. Sorry. I wish they would just put all this stuff together. There also seems to be, strangely enough, corpses of earth elementals broken around up the top of the 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 platform.
Huh.
I'm sorry,
There,
And
where are we right now?
you are
Are
at
we still
present
where?
right here where Fargus is. Um,
Gotcha.
and actually, I'm just going to reveal this space because I you guys are in it, and I'll. Da, 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 da. So you guys are at present there. I'm going to grab Ront. He's going to represent the bat. The bat is more or less here, and I'm going to move him again up here on this platform. There seems to be the bodies of some earth elementals. They aren't moving. They all kind of have busted apart, and you can also see that there is a strange yellow gem poking out of one of the corpses of elementals.
Are we sure these are elementals and not petrified humans?
Yes, yes, they are very distinctly different.
Okay.
And so I'm going to move Bat back to here because that represents where he actually is.
I guess he can't pull that gem out of somebody's chest.
No, no. He's just a tiny little bat.
How about Mage Hand?
Well, you even with Mage Hand, you'd have to actually be inside of the cave and have line of sight in order to be able to do it, and it's up on a platform.
Ugh, you and your logic.
Hmm.
I say we're here for the Medusa first, so can I try the other stairway with Bat?
Oh, you mean up here?
Yes.
Okay. Give me a moment.
As long as the other party members don't mind me scouting.
Not at all.
No, you're right. We're here for Medusa first.
The light from bioluminescent fungi refracts through large crystal formations erupting from the floor. They're creating a kaleidoscope of colors on the surrounding walls. The crystals are semi-transparent, slightly distorting images seen through them. A statue of a gnome cowers near a crystal outgrowth, holding a
Yep.
broken crystal in its hands.
Found Medusa's lair.
Incidentally, because you guys are now at this point not exactly experts, but familiar with a variety of different fungi. There are a fungi species in the area called nightlight. They are tall and tube-shaped bioluminescent mushrooms that grow somewhere between 6 and 10 feet tall. They emit bright light in a 15-foot radius and additional dim light for 15 feet beyond. Um,
Hmm.
you can sort of tear them out of the ground, and if you do, um, it will, go out permanently. But if a living nightlight is ever touched, either by a creature or an object, the light goes out again until it is touched again. So these things are often encouraged to be grown in civilized areas because they can act as streetlights.
Hmm.
Anyways, so I'm reading through this.
Melrath, you are invisible, and we have another filter of invisibility. I mean, it's a potion of invisibility. So,
I also
who wants to try and get her to drink some potion of love?
I also have the invisibility spell.
Yep.
Are we really gonna like make her fall in love with us?
I really don't know, but I mean, it's either we make nice or we kill her.
Well, we can do both. I really kind of want to see what this filter of love does because we keep joking about it.
Uh,
Well, you drink it, and the next time you see a creature within 10 minutes after drinking the filter, you become oh, that's bad.
well, if you're the person who drinks it.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
I'm trying to reveal some of the space beyond.
How would we convince Medusa? Yeah, that's a good point. Could we shove it down her throat since you're invisible?
You can try. I mean, Melroth has a good strength roll. I'm going to move that to about here. Now, inside of this space, you can also see, I'm sorry I had some difficulty revealing it, there are some stairs leading down, and then obviously there are these two different abodes, and so you can kind of pick one or head down below and see what else you can find.
Um, I'm gonna get a petrified bat if I do this incorrectly. So, sure, I'll do the western, southwestern.
Here, just to be clear.
Yes.
Okay, rock can be there. So, interesting. All right. This cave is filled with probably 30 statues of Drow warriors. All of them are standing as if they're on guard. Um, hmm. There's something strange about these statues, though. Um, as Bat is flitting about in between them, um, he's checking around and you can hear some rock grinding. And as he continues to survey the area, when he looks back, some of the Drow warrior heads have changed from looking straight ahead to looking to the side where Bat had flown by.
Ooh, creepy.
Additionally, the air in here has a fair bit of dust, but it seems like it might be settling from the ceiling or something. It's all kind of, coming from the ceiling down towards the floor, and it is covering these statues.
All right. So there are 30 drow in here. Is there anything else?
Actually, that's pretty much it. But when I say there are 30 drow in here, think of it more like terracotta warriors.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's the way in
gotcha.
which they're arranged.
Okay, so they're them bad. What's in the other one then?
Okay, so moving over to here. Uh,
And I'm going to relay this to the party that there are most likely living statues in there.
okay, so when you fly into this space, the adornments of this chamber would be more at home in a Drow city. There are spider-themed tapestries, fine Zirkwood furniture, and racks of expensive clothing that fill the area, but all of it is very old and rotted. At the center of the chamber, a female Drow sits upon a Zirkwood throne. She stands, and her eyes are closed and arms crossed as if in meditation or prayer. And then her white hair writhes, and you can see it is formed of pale, hissing snakes. Um, the snakes react to the bats, but the Drow Medusa doesn't actually seem to react right away. She continues to be in prayer. Um, what will you do?
Um, just gonna check out what else is around.
Okay, so you're leaving the space or checking in the space?
Checking in the space, but avoiding trying to stay out of the way of the snakes.
Um, you absolutely can do so, but drawing the space is sort of long. There's a long corridor that leads into a wide space back here. I guess I could reveal some of it now. Do like that. So there's a space beyond, and it's a long rectangular corridor leading like this, and you basically have to fly over the Medusa in order to get there. At any point that you draw closer to the Medusa, the snake hair starts to raise in its irritation, and the hissing sound increases. So, are you going to attempt to fly over it and explore beyond?
No, I know what its AC is. It's coming back home. And also, is that a little pathway down to the south?
Yeah, there is a little pathway down to the south. It seems to link back around to the area with the pool and the waterfall.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm going to just then check to the north and then relay everything back to.
Sure. Um, go like that, and then bring this back up again. All right. The floor of this cavern is worn smooth, but the walls are rough. There is a great menhir carved from a stalagmite that stands in the center of the chamber, pockmarked with dozens of empty sockets that might once have held gems. Um, and so, in fact, these look exactly like spell gems. And you know someone who actually knows quite a bit about spell gems. They might be able to tell you more information about this place. Um, but at the moment, it's a little difficult to tell exactly what the purpose of the space is. Um, uh, it's a little hard to sense through bat, but you get the impression that this might once have been a very important temple. Um, does anybody not know what a menhir is? I didn't before I started, was
No
studying for
idea.
this adventure.
I
Um,
do not.
think think Stonehenge.
Hmm.
Those
Gotcha.
those very tall, very heavy, kind of featureless stones are what menhirs are, and they are arranged here in a ceremonial or religious fashion, um, and their purpose is something of a mystery. So at the moment, there's nothing more to really do here unless you want to go down there and start poking around.
Nope, I'm good. Well, we know where Medusa is, and I'm going to tell people she probably has stone guards. And now,
And actually, that's a really interesting question. How do you want to approach it, given the proximity of those two abodes?
Well, that was my question. How are we gonna defeat her?
In the identification that succeeded for her,
Hmm.
could you tell us anything more about like when someone gets stone gazed or whatever? Do they fall under her control? Is it like a vampire gaze thing? I'm
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
unclear on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on just a second. I'm going to pull it back up. I know the answer, but just in case. Um, NPCs, alphabetical. Click here. Medusa. And actually, I'm going to drag this down to the bar in case I need to reference it again. I'm skimming over some information, so bear with me for a moment. Well, that does seem to directly answer it, but let me also check the petrifying gaze block. Okay.
I think our first order of business should be getting that poor little stoned drow out, stoned Druger out of here, since he was just at the entrance. So we could potentially get him out quickly and quietly.
Actually, I'm gonna move bat for a second. The stoned creature, the petrified creature, is actually right there.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, yeah. I actually kind of wish that they'd drawn it into the map, but so be it. They didn't even bother to draw crystals either, so fuck them, I guess. But, anyways, I've looked up all the information. It all confirmed what I thought I knew. So, the answer is that you actually know for certain that when it comes to Medusa, you've never, ever, and actually several of you are familiar with them based on the rolls that you got. Nobody has ever heard of a Medusa that is able to animate creatures that it is petrified.
Okay. Interesting.
So that is a very unusual feature and a rather terrifying one at that. Now, the other thing that I can tell you for sure is follow Bat here for a second on the map. So he started out here, he flew over to here, then he flew over to here, then he flew over to here, and then he flew back to here. Okay, so did everybody roughly follow that movement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yes.
The petrified creature is right here. And so Bat essentially flew directly over it, and the petrified creature did not move, rotate its
Oh,
head
okay.
or anything.
Okay. Excellent.
So
Good
it
to know.
seems to be some function of the animate statues in that area.
Hmm.
So you're saying this Medusa is special, or there's
I'm
something
saying
else
that
going
there's not
on?
enough information for you to be certain exactly what's going on.
Gotcha.
But I need to know how you would like to try to handle this. Um, and you can
Well,
throw out some ideas, and I can let you know if you're on the right track or not.
I think, um, I mean, I that dust that's falling from the ceiling, I bet it has something to do with it. So could I make a roll about that?
Yes, but only if you're personally present, because then you can read the magic that is in the room, if you know what I mean.
Nope, that makes sense. Well, in that case, we have potentially up to 3 people who can be invisible, and as long as you pick up Kobold and carry him away, Kobold is willing to be distraction
I would
while you
also
guys.
point out that with invisibility, it lasts for a solid hour. So you
Yep.
guys have been fairly quick about the exploration so far. You've got at least another 35 minutes, at least
Hmm.
on Melrath's invisibility is what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When does Snake come out of his fear?
Um, Actually, now that the creature's been destroyed, he's no longer afraid. However, the effects of aging seem to have persisted on him. Um, so let me see here. Did Snake actually have age list written on
Old
his
man
secret
snake.
notes? Nope. So I don't know what his age was, but it's 11 years higher than that.
However, it is almost 9 if we want to take a break.
Yep. Do you want to figure out the plan next time, or
Yeah, I'm kind of
I
at a
think so.
loss for what to do, but
I mean, I have an idea that people should sneak around. It's just whether or not people actually want to sneak around.
um, so
right. But then what?
I
Do we just
Um,
cut off her head behind her?
here people roll me some wisdom checks, and I can give you guys some hints tactically.
Okay.
This is just a standard ability check for the stat wisdom.
Oh, whoops! I still have
Oh
advantage
dear.
Nice
on.
try, Bob.
Shut up.
Uh,
Oh,
Snake,
he's still disadvantaged from, so the 19 got dropped. Unfortunate.
disadvantage from the fear.
Yep.
Oh, then we're gonna give him the 19 because I need to
Yay.
remove that.
We need some help.
Yeah, you do need some help. So let me also, before I forget any further. All right, so that's been removed. So here's the deal. The situation that you have at hand is as follows. The stone maniers don't seem to be of any immediate threat, at least none that you can see. There's nothing down there except for, the religious thing, and it seems like no one's been there. Nothing's moving around. So that's a thing. Um, the cavern behind the waterfall. There's some broken up earth elementals, but nothing seems to be moving in there, so it all seems to be, pretty harmless. So that leaves only 2 actual known sources of danger. The You don't know what's up with the Drow statues, which means that you don't know what they can do. They could be hostile and they could be dangerous, or not. The only way to know is to go in there and try to interact with them or interact with whatever magic is going on in that location.
Hmm.
Um, Given the proximity between the two structures, um, if you simply charge in and try to take on the Medusa, you may find yourselves flanked by the statues if they are in fact dangerous. And if they aren't, then it'll be convenient that you may be able to deal with them later or investigate them later.
Is there a way to find out if they can detect invisibility?
We have to actually go in there to investigate them.
Correct. And if you go in there
Mhm.
and are visible, then that could be a problem.
Right.
Now, as for the Medusa herself, one of the things that I saw Melrath write a while ago is how can we convince her to take a random potion? You kind of can't, but I will allow you to try to use a strength roll to basically shove it down her throat and force her to drink it, which seems extraordinarily dangerous to me because her hair is an animate force that can attack. Um, I think it's fairly safe to assume, like the gnomish creature that's right here, he's already been petrified, so she doesn't necessarily seem um, like she might be in a talking mood. He seems like he's cowering, if you know what I mean.
I mean, could we just sneak up behind her and chop her head off?
Um, D&D kind of prevents that. Otherwise, it would be the solution to every
Yeah.
yeah. So there's
Oh.
combat or not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when
that's
you're invisible, you'll have that first attack,
Yeah,
but
you can
then you
as
get revealed.
Gotcha.
invisibility gives you the opportunity for sneak attack, and what sneak attack does is she rolls a perception check. If she beats a certain number, she has become aware of you. Maybe she heard you creeping into the cavern, and you know knocked a rock around, and she figured that something was there and invisible, and isn't
Hmm.
surprised. In the event that she is surprised, she doesn't get to act, and any characters that had successfully surprised her all get an action in that round. Any characters not involved in the surprise do not get an action in that round. Then in the following round, initiative proceeds as normal throughout the rest of combat. But you've seen before, like when you guys unload on something, that one round can make a lot of difference.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And once you attack, if you're invisible, does the spell end?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, there is
That's
another spell later on called Greater Invisibility, which lasts only for 1 minute, which is a long time in combat, but not outside of it, which states that even while you're invisible, if you attack or take any hostile action, the invisibility persists.
hmm. Well, I said we all think about it for the next week.
Exactly.
We'll come
Um,
back and destroy her.
yep. So, thank you guys for playing. It's been fun exploring Blinged in Stone. I'm going to stop the stream now.